Market stall etiquette is about good manners. Now, on a market, there are rules and then there are unspoken rules. Now, it's my job to help you navigate through these unspoken rules.
You're starting a business? Get Margaret Stall Facts. This woman, she explains everything. Everything you ever want to know.
Hi, my name is Yara and I've had over 15 years experience of trading at markets, and I want to share my knowledge with you so that you become less likely to cause animosity with other traders. So the first way to really cause people to get annoyed with you is if you poach their customers. So imagine this. You're standing at your stall and you've got your stall width, or your gazebo width, and the space in front where people walk in front of your stall, they are then classed as your customers. You can talk with them, try and sell to them, engage with them, whatever you have to do, they are your customers. They are classed as your customers at that point. As soon as they've gone on to someone else's visual area, they are then their customers. And before they come onto your area, they are the previous stall's customers. Now it's very easy. While you're standing there, you're looking at everybody and you're smiling and doing your thing. But you mustn't communicate with anybody until they come into your visual area. You have to be on a market to experience it. So if someone is walking in front of someone else's stall, just browsing and looking at their wares, and then you say something as banal maybe as good morning, you are stealing that person's customer. The customer needs to do their thing within the boundaries of your fellow stallholder's stall, and then when they're within your area, you can then sell to them. It sounds quite technical, but it's really obvious, and actually you'll learn how annoying this is when somebody does it to you. It is so annoying. So that is the most important bit of market stall etiquette that new people need to be aware of. Now another thing is, don't be a hawker. A hawker is someone who stands there and shouts their wares. Fine if they're on a street corner. It's actually, I think it's illegal now, I'm not sure, but scrap that. But you can stand on a street corner and do whatever you want to do. But if you're next to another stall and you're shouting, first of all, most customers will want to avoid you. So they'll give you and the stalls either side of you a wide berth. We find this actually a lot with stalls that are there to not sell their wares, but to advertise their products. So Forestry England and those kind of charity stalls, if you like. People take a wide berth of them, so it's really annoying being next to them for the opposite reason. They're certainly not hawkers, but they don't want to be accosted by them in the street, to talk to them about joining this or that charity, so they get avoided. But being next to a hawker is very frustrating, because either people will avoid you, or if that person is a very, come and taste my wares, come and taste my whiskey. Why I put on that accent, I don't know. But come and taste my whiskey. Everybody's, into tasting alcohol, so they'll come and taste their whiskey, spend their money at that stall, and pass yours by. This happened to me, actually. And it was so off-putting that I think I personally almost went into a sort of, I couldn't believe it. I was astounded. My sales were appalling thereafter. So really, if you are next to somebody like that, have a conversation with them. If that doesn't work, then speak to the person organising the show, the market, whatever, because it is so off-putting. And another thing on those lines, if you're next to somebody, this has happened to us twice in all the time I've been doing markets, so it's not a usual thing. If you're next to somebody at a show that you normally do really well at, you've got a lot of stock and everything, and suddenly this year you're next to somebody who has actually got a butcher's shop in the local village, in the local town, and they are giving away huge free samples to everybody. They're not really there to sell, they're there to advertise their shop. And they're giving out free samples to everybody. Well, what do you think is going to happen? Of course, everybody's going to come, take their samples, enjoy, and ignore what's right in front of them. So being next to somebody like that will hugely affect your sales, and don't be afraid to go straight to the to the organiser and explain the situation, because on many markets that is just frankly not allowed. It really isn't, and it's not on. So that's my take on hawkers. But of course, you do want to if you're offering tasters yourself, or you have your own sales patter, you want to get involved in that, but not to the detriment of the stallholders next to you. You've got to do your speaky bit, but not to the detriment. I mean, it's a fine line, it is, but yeah, just be aware of that. On the similar sort of lines of not poaching other people's customers is visual blocking. So you've got your lovely, let's say it's a big stall, and you think, I'll put an A-board on my stall. So you put an A-board on the corner of your stall, which is attached to the stall next door. It visually blocks the person on this stall from seeing. And personally, when I sell, I'm scanning the whole street, just looking for the next customers to come along. And when you're blocked, you can't. So you can't have a pre-knowledge of who's coming, or begin to build rapport, if you like. So it's really annoying. Just be aware of it, that you don't do it to somebody else. I think, again, you need to be in that position to understand the problem. Or you need to be aware of it. You need to be a bit of a salesperson. Because if you're just going to put your wares on the table, visual block, stand out, wait for things to happen, then you will not understand the real nature of the impact that your display is having. Be aware of that. Now, at the beginning of the market day, let's say the market starts at 9 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning, the majority of stallholders arrive. And you can imagine, on a market of 30 to 50 stalls, it can be pandemonium. But on a regular, say, charter market that happens every week, all the stallholders know when to arrive, and it's almost a bit of a dance. And it all happens in the space of about half an hour, in, out, and let someone go in front of you, then people carrying their stuff. And then after half an hour, finished, gone. That would be quite good to film, to be fair. So if that idea stresses you out, don't get there for 8 o'clock when the majority of stallholders will get there, or even if your stall takes 2 hours to set up. Just the earlier you get there, the freer ride you're going to have. But also, once you are there, nobody is there to help you. Everybody has their own thing to do. It's not, oh yeah, I'm in my box here. No, it's your business. You are responsible for getting your stock from your car to your vehicle. So, but also, you have to do it fast. Chatting with your stallholders that you saw last week is really not an option during this small time frame. You need to get your stuff on your table and out, and then go off and park, and then come back, and then you can faff about. Also remember not to begin conversations with other stallholders during this time, because everybody knows in and then out. So actually, this is interesting. I think doing it fast and effectively, it really applied to food sellers, food markets, farmers markets. On one regular market I attended, all the food sellers would be in there early, chick, bish, bash, bosh, and out. Now, that's what we were used to. Then we did a little village fair, which was an annual event, lots of probably 100, 200 stallholders at that event. And they had a lot of craft sellers, a lot of other sort of sellers, and your food sellers. Now, what the organisers actually said was, it's extraordinary. The food sellers, in, out, gone. But it's the craft sellers who don't get it. Everyone's putting up their own gazebos and things. The food sellers, the craft sellers just took their time. It was, and the whole point is you dress your stall after you have loaded your stuff onto your, after your vehicle's out of the way, you can fanny around as much as you like. But before that, get it out of your vehicle and go. Seriously. Nothing is more frustrating, and that people who fanny around cause such road rage because it's blocking the system, the sort of known system for everybody else. Top tip here, though, is once you arrive, before you put any item onto your table, get your tablecloth out and put it on first, and then put your boxes on top. Inexperienced stallholders won't realise this, but that is the most important thing. So when you load your car up, have your tablecloth at the top ready to be the first thing to go out, because then you can start organising your stall without having to remove all your boxes again, put your tablecloth on, and then you can get that idea. The market manager on any market is such an important person. He is the most important person. He is God for that. Your God for the day. He needs to become your new best friend. For many reasons. They have the authority to turf you off the market if you're behaving in a way that is not acceptable. They know the rules. It's really their job to tell you the rules. Every individual market will have their own rules because every location is different, and it's your job to find out what those rules are. Some rules may be, for example, unless you arrive at the market before 9 o'clock, your vehicle will not be allowed on site. You'll have to wheel your stuff on. Or it might be, most markets will have, you're not allowed to leave at all before the closing time of that market. Or it might be, do not use the car park opposite. That is for customers. Use the car park that is, designated for you. There are lots of unspoken rules, not unspoken, but proper rules about markets, and it's the market manager's job to let you know what those are. Payments, for example. If you don't pay, you don't get on, but they're all different. Find out what they are beforehand. But the market manager should become your new best friend. Because if you have a problem, they're the person to go and speak to, and hopefully they'll solve it. A good market manager is someone who's assertive and will take no nonsense. They are the best market managers. They will help you when somebody else is product creeping and starting to put some of your product onto their stall. You tell the market manager and they will go and tell them to take it off, that sort of thing. If you have issues with fellow stallholders, whatever it is, speak to the market manager. So for example, this week you are placed next to a stall that is a bit of a smelly stall and you are selling a food product. Not usually much you can do about it, but you can certainly register your displeasure. So you might be next to a fish stall. You might be next to somebody who is frying their goods. You might be next to a bath bomb seller whose the smell of their product is really strong, but it will detract from your food product. So smelly stalls are, really be aware of that. So if you getting early to a market or to a show or to an event is really good, because if you arrive and you see your name place or a piece of paper with your product on the table, and you just have a look, oh, who am I next to, who am I next to? If you think that the product that you're next to will detract from you, then it's at that point when nobody's arrived that you can quickly have a word with the organiser and say, look, I don't think, you can negotiate, can't you? So negotiation is a really key skill at that point. Another thing to be aware of is bringing enough float. Nothing more annoying than a fellow stallholder who consistently doesn't have enough float. It matters probably less now because everybody's using card machines. I settle, by the way. But having people who don't have enough float, I mean, you probably bought the exact amount of float that you know that you'll need. But when they run out of their pound coins, we all do it. But if it's a consistent thing, because that stallholder has not bothered to go to the bank or whatever, it does get annoying. So do make sure you have enough float. And talking about the money side of things, stallholder discounts. It's completely unspoken, but if you trade at a market regularly, you tend to give fellow stallholders a discount on your product. Whether that's 5%, 10%, a gesture, a small thing. Be aware of not don't offer too much, because then if you go to their stall and you don't find that their discount's enough, it can cause a bit of animosity. In fact, none of us should do it, because it does cause animosity for the folk who don't know or who don't do it. But yes, there should be a blanket rule, I suppose, but But so selling, giving discounts, or doing swapsies at the end of the day, that's a known thing, particularly on stock that is not going to last beyond the day, cakes, things like that. Swapsies is a good thing, and you swap for the value. So if you're swapping something for £3, you then swap it, you hope to get something in the return for the similar sort of value. Yeah. Now, customers usually are lovely, but you do get the odd person who is just having a bad day and they take it out on the next person available. And it could be you, or it could be your fellow stallholder, that they didn't like the way they said hello to them or didn't say hello to them. In a situation like that, other stallholders will support you. Conversely, you need to be aware of that for other stallholders. I mean, you might get the local drunks, the local youths giving you grief. Even if you just physically move from your stall and move to stand next to that person, that is enough. Just supporting your fellow stallholders, because they will do it for you. Another thing about stallholders, when you're at a market, not only will they help you pass the time of day and have a lovely day, but they will also let you know of other markets that are happening, or other shows or events. Oh, you must go to that one because it's really good. I did it last year and I took this amount of money. So you'll get to hear about what are good shows and also what are not. Oh my goodness, don't go to that. They're just a rip-off. They don't advertise, that sort of thing. So go to your first market, have the courage to go to your first market, earn a good amount of money, which you're bound to, and your markets after that will all be because you have learnt from your fellow stallholders. So your fellow stallholders, your relationship with fellow stallholders is so important, very important. So, but also remember that other stallholders are there for the same reason that you're there. They want to earn money as much as you do. Thank you for listening. That is today's lesson. Remember,